have such phenomena as, for example, vandalism, crime, drugs, gang warfare. All of these things are symptoms of social disintegration in a society that doesn't have a central ideology, a central vision, a focal point for unity. And human beings, being social animals by nature, need something to knit their societies together. And if you don't have something cohesive in the centre, you get these problems happening. And, for example, gang warfare can be thought of as human beings getting together and saying, well, if society as a whole is not going to provide us with a focal point for unity, we'll create our own units and our own sources of unity. If we had a strong religious influence in the centre of society, we would not have these problems. And so religious fundamentalism has become a very widespread movement, not just in the Islamic world where we tend to hear about it most, but you have fundamentalist movements in Christianity, in Judaism, in Hinduism and Buddhism. In all of these religions, it's a very attractive idea that somehow you can recreate the situation of 300 years ago when religion was at the centre of society and religion formed the values of society, and these values would, by their very nature, be against corruption and immorality and all the problems of modern society.
So is that going to work, turning the clock back?
Well, in my opinion, no, for several reasons. First of all, you can't turn the clock back. The situation 300 years ago was that the religious viewpoint was the only viewpoint on offer. There were no alternatives. Once you have a world in which you have alternative viewpoints, once you have a scientific viewpoint, for example, on the world, and you have all the products of science and technology, you can't turn the clock back to a situation where there is only one worldview and that worldview dominates everything. If you're going to have the science, if you're going to have the technology, and none of these fundamentalists are suggesting that we don't have the technology and the science, and once you introduce the scientific viewpoint with its questioning and its analysis and so forth, then that by itself tends to break down this very traditionalist and fundamentalist viewpoint. What these fundamentalist regimes try to do is to cocoon their societies from what they consider to be the evil influences of the modern world, and to shut out all of these influences and create societies that are shut off from the rest of the world. We are now living in what some people have termed a global village, or what the founder of the Baha'i faith said that the earth is but one country and mankind the citizens of that one country. We're no longer in the sort of world that you can form a secluded society that doesn't interact with the rest of the world, that isn't dependent on goods and services and other things coming in from the rest of the world. And so this whole fundamentalist project of trying to create such a society is, in my opinion, doomed to failure. The fundamentalist vision that somehow religion should regain its position at the centre of society and act as the source of values for a society is correct, but that religion cannot be this sort of religion that turns its back on the modern world and tries to go back to the past. It has to be a religion that accepts the modern world on its own terms, accepts the fact that we are now living in one world, we're living in the position where everything is interdependent and interconnected. So it must be a religion with a global vision, a religion with a vision of a united humanity, a religion which sees science and religion as being two compatible forces in the human world that should work in harmony with each other, that promotes, for example, the advancement of the role of women in society. A religion, in other words, that is adapted to the modern world and has therefore a vision for the future of human society, a vision of moving forward towards a greater degree of unity in the world, the vision of uniting the various peoples of the world into one people. These sorts of forward-looking visions is what society needs. And Baha'is would say that the Baha'i faith is such a religion.